What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and this is the twilight of the morning, and I am finally giving you guys what I promised you. This is the prediction and fight breakdown of Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. Okay. First of all, let's look at the tell of the tape. The tell of the tape. Errol Spence, he's 33 years of age. His birthday was back in March. Compared to Terence Crawford, he's age 35. Okay, and his birthday is in, I believe, late September. 28 fights for Errol Spence, 39 fights for Terence Crawford. 28 wins for Errol Spence, 39 wins for Terence Crawford. No losses between the two of these guys. 22 knockouts for Errol Spence, 30 knockouts for Terence Crawford. 5'9" height for Errol Spence, 5'8" height for Terence Crawford. Now, weight, 10 stones, 3 pounds for Errol Spence, 10 stones, 4 pounds for Terence Crawford. They're at the 147-pound limit. 72-inch reach for Errol Spence, 74-inch reach for Bud Crawford. The Truth is his nickname of Errol Spence, and Bud is his nickname for Terence Crawford. And as of right now, Errol Spence has the WBC, the IBF, and the WBA. Okay, he has those belts. He is the holder of those belts, and the WBO is the belt holder. Terence Crawford is the belt holder of the WBO. Now, this is going to be a very good fight because what we're looking at is Errol Spence, younger fighter, led to have better opposition. You know, that's up in the air. But in a lot of people's eyes, he's had the better opposition of fighters. Versus, and he's the worker, he's bigger, he's supposed to be stronger. We don't really know that, but he's definitely bigger. Okay, and he has a high work rate. Okay, so he's not as talented, but probably one of the hardest working fighters, busy fighters, active fighters in the boxing ring. Okay, I don't mean fights after fights. I mean, he's the guy that throws the most punches. Terence Crawford, 35 years of age, smaller guy, more talented, okay, that he fights in spots and he's able to adapt. He switches from southpaw to orthodox, so he's an even-handed fighter. Errol Spence is a southpaw versus a guy that's sometimes a southpaw depending on who he's fighting. Terence Crawford's a style bender. Errol Spence is like a commander-in-chief. He likes to run the show. When those guys come together, this is what we're going to have. And let me show you. Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, this fight is going to go, at the beginning, it's going to be very tedious because the jab is going to be the first thing established. And Errol is going to want to establish the jab. He's going to want to build a lead on Terence Crawford. Whether he does that or not is anybody's business. But he's going to want to push away in this fight early. But he won't do that because Terence Crawford is not a type of fighter that's going to give you what you want him, what you want. Okay, so he's going to bait Errol in. Okay, Errol's going to come in, and he's going to come in probing with the jab. He's going to come in probing with the jab. If he can go to the body, he will. If he can turn over the right hand, he will, and turn it into a hook, turn that jab into a hook, and he's going to try to go down to the body. This is going to be the problem. I don't think that Errol's going to do that quick unless he has an opportunity to. Okay, and the only way he's going to get an opportunity to is if he is able to get in with his jab. Okay, So if Errol's able to get in with his jab, of course, if that body's there, he's going to work that body. And that is essential for him, though, because he's going to need Terence Crawford to slow down. He's going to need him to slow down. He's going to need less juice out of those legs, because Terence Crawford is a guy that uses pivots and he uses angles. That's what makes him very difficult. That's what makes him catch you with shots that you really don't see. When you're coming in here, he may catch you here. You know, he may catch you with a shot where you don't see, like the Kell Brook situation. Kell Brook's another counterpuncher. But also understand, Kell Brook gave Errol Spence problems, even though that was his first test and his first attempt at a world title, which was the IBF, same belt that Kell Brook took off of Sean Porter, okay? And it was a very competitive fight. I think it ended in 10 rounds, and Errol Spence just piled on the pressure because he hit that gear. He hit that gear of pressuring, but he's known to be a pressure. He just adds more pressure, okay? So it's just kind of like, okay, I was doing this at first. Now I'm going to do this and get you out of there and press you to get you out of there. And that's what he did to Kell Brook. You know, he busted his eye open, but to be fair, Kell Brook got busted up by Gennady Golovkin, and this, you know, that's what was the beginning of his fracturedness skull, okay? Because this is all the same, you know? That's how it works. So anyway, Kell Brook was pretty much injured, but Errol Spence got the job done. Now, Terence Crawford is, of course, going to look for openings because he's going to see what Errol Spence has. Errol Spence being the bigger man in this fight, I don't think that will be a very big deal. I think Terence Crawford, knowing something about Terence, and people don't understand this, what's going to help him in this fight, his ability to spin out and his ability to lock up, okay, and to submit. And people are going to say, well, this is not MMA. Well, I beg to differ. MMA took a lot of things from boxing, okay, like clinching, okay? You clinch in boxing when needed. What's illegal is excessive clinching. So if you're like Hector Macho Camacho, and you clinch every fucking exchange, yeah, that's illegal. That's not Terence Crawford. So if Errol thinks he's going to get Terence into a corner and he has him, he better land something solid. You better pull a Jeff Horn, and even Jeff Horn, you know, had success in that fight, but he eventually got shut down. But Terence Crawford will grab you, clinch you, and pull you around. That's what he did. That's what he did to Sean Porter, and he was able to control Sean Porter just by physically moving him. Now, if he can physically move big-ass Errol Spence, which would probably come into that fight probably about 158, 160, okay, after weigh-in the next day after rehydration. If he's able to do that, Errol Spence has a lesser chance, because a lot of people expect Errol Spence, because he's bigger, he should be stronger, and because he's stronger, he should be able to run right over Terence Crawford. Okay? That's what Jeff Horn did to Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao was a smaller dude in there, and he did all types of shit to Manny Pacquiao like that. But I don't see him doing that. He couldn't do it to Terence Crawford, and I don't think Errol Spence will be able to. But I could be wrong, because Errol Spence is a big-ass dude. Okay? He's huge. Okay? And I think what's it going to come down to is, once Errol Spence learns, I have to start working and I have to hit that gauge, hit that gear like I did with Kell Brook, because Kell Brook is also a counterpuncher. He's going to find out what counterpunching is all about. That's when the fight is going to take a turn, because Errol Spence then, we've seen Errol Spence. Errol Spence will start using punches and he'll start being selective, but he will still be aggressive because he will get overzealous, because he will feel that he's behind on points. This won't be a Sean Porter back and forth fight if that's the case. However, Errol Spence is going to pressure Terence more. But once you do that, that's what's going to be the problem, because you give a guy like Terence Crawford, a guy can change from southpaw to orthodox, and he's able to do that like that. There's going to be the moment when Terence Crawford hits Errol Spence with a shot that he will not see. It won't be a punch where he's gonna catch it and take it on the chin. No, this is going to be a perfectly timed shot that he's not going to see. That's going to hurt Errol Spence. It may not knock him out, but it will definitely hurt him. But guess what? If it hurts him, Terence Crawford is a guy that won't, and he knows he hurts you, he's going to finish you. Now, that's when we will see how durable Errol Spence really is. But make no mistake about it, once Terence Crawford does that, and let's say he drops Errol Spence, let's say he finishes Errol Spence, it's going to be the controversy between the two wrecks, the teeth, the lifestyle, a lot of things will happen. Well, he couldn't beat that Errol Spence years ago. But those same guys that say that shit are the same guys that still praise Errol Spence for beating the shit out of Ugas and Danny Garcia. You know, even though Errol Spence had no business fighting Mikey Garcia, which was a waste of time, I feel. But, you know, it is what it is. He needed the numbers. He needed that fight because Mikey Garcia, people came to see him. And he did it in Dallas, Texas, which was ingenious. Right? So, I just think it's too many counterpunching abilities based on Errol Spence's work rate. His work rate will give Terence everything he needs. See, normally Errol Spence is a guy that comes in there, beats you up, wears you down, and takes you out, if not whatever, you know? Terence Crawford is a guy that is more like a leopard. Errol's a lion, okay? And a lion is an aggressive, very powerful animal. He's a beast. But Terence Crawford is a leopard. He's a guy that's going to wait and pounce when he needs to. And when he catches Errol with shots that he's not going to see, and we've seen Errol, the way he gets hit and with those damn teeth, and he's always looking around, he's going to get knocked out doing that shit because he's going to get caught with shots. And I think that Errol Spence now has another mouthpiece, because if he doesn't, he's going to knock that mouthpiece out with those big-ass teeth that he got put in after that wreck, because all of his teeth were gone. You know, so he got veneers, you know, these maybe 12, 13, you know, $20,000 teeth. Perfect, but they were a little big. Okay, maybe the agent or the gumming was wrong, because you have to, you know, you have to use a mouthpiece, you know, to form how your teeth will look in your mouth. That's how he got those, right? So I had a good friend of mine that had those. That's why I know. But nonetheless, you know, it's going to be one's durability and work rate versus the other one's cleverness and ability to adapt. And don't get me wrong, Terence Crawford is a guy that will fight you when he gets angry. He's not a Edis Landilala. He's not a guy that, you know, he's a lot different than people think he is. See, Errol Spence is known for the way he breaks and chops down the body, which is awesome. I love to see him, you know, break down that tree. But he's up against a guy that challenges him to do his best, or promises him not to do how should I explain? Terence Crawford is telling Errol Spence what he better not do. So basically, Terence Crawford threatened Errol Spence 5 years ago. He said, yeah, you better not do all that shit to the body, because I'm going to catch that shit, and I'm going to shoot that shit right to your face. While you're trying to get punches to the body and hurt me, I'm going to be knocking you out. And you're giving me everything you need because you're going to my body with both punches, with both hands, which is a crazy idea dealing with a fighter like me. I knew that Terence Crawford would beat Errol Spence 5 years ago. I don't care if it's 5 years later, because again, you know, the only person that really has wear for terror is Errol Spence. Ironically, the guy that's the younger fighter. But youth don't make you age less experience or more. Experiences do. Okay? And Terence Crawford has been shot in the head before. So take that into a little grain of salt. So if you want a little trivia right there, Terence Crawford has been definitely shot before in the head. So you got a guy that was in a crazy crash caught on film and another guy that has been shot in the head. So we got two milagros, two miracle fighters right now getting it on. But I think Terence Crawford will prevail. But I think some way, if and when he beats Errol Spence, he won't get the credit that he deserves. But anyway, that's my fight and breakdown prediction of Terence Crawford taking on Errol the Truth Spence. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!